Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I want to try something and I hope you are okay with me trying this. I like rubber stamping, and I had seen this a long time ago now, in the middle or the end of 2016, and I really was like, I'm going to get into this. I went out at the beginning of 2017, no, in 16, because the baby was here and he was still new. So it was early 2016, and I was like, I'm going to be a stamp maker. I'm going to make my own stamps because I've been looking for Super Grover Saves the Day. It is a Stampabilities stamp with Sesame Street. If you guys are not familiar who Super Grover is, he is from Sesame Street. He is my favorite Muppet or puppet. He's my favorite puppet from Sesame Street. So that's why I want to make one. I want to try to get fancy enough to make a Grover head because I was not able to. I couldn't see in my head to get that. So anyway, I went out and I showed you this before when I told you I was going to cut up these Target stamps. But I just used scissors for those, which really came out great. I may need to trim it down some, but all that other excess is gone now. And so what I did is I did a little bit of research on YouTube, and from my understanding, I want to say Stampin' Up, I think it was Stampin' Up, had like a little stamp maker's kit at some point that they were sending out. Then they didn't do it anymore. I think it was Stampin' Up. I normally don't misquote companies, but I want to say that was that. But one of the ladies on YouTube talked about making your own stamps, and she mentioned speedball. Do you know how hard it is to get something when people work at a company and they don't understand what they're selling? I called Michael's to get this. I couldn't find it. I went all over the place to try to get this thing. Could not find what I needed to find. The funny thing about this whole entire thing is I've made stamps before when I was in high school, middle school. High school or middle school? It had to be middle school because I went to career school for high school. And I went to the school in the 90s, early 90s, late 90s, late 80s. I am older than some people think I am. So anyway, we did a lot of home eccy type of things. I got a chance to make a pillow. I cooked a meal, different things in home economics. That's when women had to go to home ec and guys had to go to shop class. That's how old I am. Anyway, I went out and bought it. I used a coupon because I was like, that's pretty pricey for a project that I probably won't use a lot. I won't do a lot of because sometimes I just get really discouraged. And when I get discouraged like that, it just makes me not want to do certain things. So anyway, I went out and I bought a whole bunch of erasers. Some I've gifted to people because they use erasers on daily projects. But I got this from the dollar store. And on the inside, it looked like this. It said, for big mistakes. Okay? So, it's red rubber. And I figured that we could make something together. Julie Faith Fan Balzer, the lady that does a lot of brother scan and cut videos. She has her own YouTube channel. And I follow her on YouTube as well as Instagram. And she's been doing for December, I think it's called Carvetober, where she's been making cute little stamps. And so she kind of has encouraged me. I haven't been following her whole thing. Like, I didn't go to her blog and look it up, but I already had all this stuff, and I just figured that I could try and do something. So I did this before, and it didn't work out well for me. So whenever you're making a stamp, again, I don't know what I'm doing. Take all this stuff I'm about to say with a grain of salt. It has to be backwards. So if you're going to make, let's just say you want to write I love you, which I'm not going to do that, but it needs to be backwards. You can't put I love you, okay? Because if you were to write I love you, when you stamp it, it's going to say love I-U-O-Y. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So what we're going to do, and she did say this, she said people, and I guess she's doing like a stamp class or whatever. So whenever you start to make stamps, and I probably should just cut this off so it's even, but you know, I'm not going to do that. I could have sliced it down the middle, but I'm not going to do that either. Anyway, when you make stamps, you want to make stamps, start off with something easy. So like if you were going to do lines, or if you were going to do like circles or anything like that. And what we're going to do, we're just going to play around with this stamp, this rubber eraser, and we are going to create a stamp. And what I want to do is just probably do like some doodles and circles, and then just create like a small little pattern. I got this pen from when I went, it's just a regular ink pen. And what we're going to do, and we're going to make these lines pretty big. Whatever I design is going to be pretty big, because we got to carve a lot of stuff off if we make it too intricate and too detailed. And that's what these little different pieces are. All have different tips. This is kind of like a scalpel. And I am left-handed, as we all know. So some of the things that I struggle with, because it's not really a left-handed tool. And because I'm not trained in any of this stuff that I do, I struggle with, you know, actually making whatever it's supposed to be that I'm making. So I just drawn 2 circles, and it looks like an eyebrow, right? Or a smile. Maybe we'll do a smile. Yeah, let's do a smile. All right. Now the thing about this entire thing, if we were to just leave this like this, for example, I would have to go in here and carve out all these things, because I want these edges to be raised, and I want everything else underneath there to be underneath. I don't want it to be all flat and even. I want it to be different. So I'm an awesome doodler. If you haven't realized that, I doodle a lot on a lot of things. You've probably seen me draw something before. Nothing fancy. So this stamp is probably too much of a stamp for us to be starting out as beginners. But we're going to go for it. And so now, since we're going to be doing a big scooping first, we're just going to go ahead and put this down so we can put our piece inside. Okay, so when you unscrew your tip handle portion, it has these 2 little pieces inside of this thimble looking thing. What you want to make sure is you don't drop it on the floor like I did. And you can just put it in like that. Now once you put it in and you screw this, you see how it has those 2 little pieces in there. You want to stick your blade in between, like how I just opened up. You want to stick your blade in between there, just like that, and screw on until it's tight. And it shouldn't have any wiggle or anything like that. And now this is the part that some of you may cringe at, because Brandy is left-handed. Yep. So you want to make good, even, clean strokes, okay? Now the thing about this is, because this stamp block is what we're going to be calling it, is so large, you just need to be careful of that, all right? But you can make nice, even, clean strokes, all right? Nice, even, clean strokes. Can you see? Let me zoom in just a smooch, a scotch. That's more than a scotch, but we're there. So you're in, you're stamping, and this is the wider one. This is a number 5. They all have numbers on them. And let's see, if I were a betting woman, which I'm not, I could tell you that the sizes, a lot of times in blades and scalpels, at least in the medical field, the larger the number, the smaller the needle. So if you have a 20 gauge compared to a 18 gauge, so if I had an 18 gauge, it has a bigger bevel in it, and so that may be the same as that, but I am not sure. But for this, it doesn't matter as much because I don't know what I'm really doing. So what we're doing is we're just getting all of the big pieces, all of the large excess things off, because we're going to go and fine tune our little face. And again, I would not recommend, if this is your first time doing it, I would not recommend trying a face. Like I should have tried a face. I should have just did like a square and maybe a rectangle or something like that. A few of those, because it would have definitely been easier to do that. So once you get all of the big pieces off of your stamp, your stamping block, what you want to do is switch out, and then you want to go in there into your block with a smaller tool, something that's a little bit more functional for you to use. When I was in whatever class it was that I learned how to do this, it's white, a white little block, and it has a piece down at the bottom and then at the top. So if you scrape too far, you can see the bottom portion of it. Kind of looks like a rug. Of course, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure if they still have that. They probably do, because it's like a beginner's. And I was at Hobby Lobby yesterday and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that is so awesome. I can get that. But I chose not to, because I already had a thing that I need to use my 40% off coupon with, which I really hate using 40% off coupons. I prefer to use a 50 or a 60% off coupon, but Hobby Lobby doesn't do that. I know that sometimes they have a 50% off coupon that they give you, not the in-store half off every other week stuff. I thought it was for Christmas in 2015, but I guess I was wrong. I rarely get regular price items from Hobby Lobby, and I try to make sure that the discount is more than 40% off when I buy things there, unless I need to get some things. And so I'm trying to limit my trips to the craft stores unless I really need something. I did have to pick up something at Michael's yesterday, and I went, and everyone's been showing their new hot buys. Of course, the Michael's where I live doesn't have all of that yet. So again, you're going to put it into the thin hole. See how it opens up into that little slit, and then you're gonna just make sure it's tight on there, no wiggle, and then we're just going to go around and try our best to fine tune it a little bit more before I go and take the thinner one in and try to trace out this face. But right now, if I was to put some ink on here, it would pick up a lot of these things because they're all still kind of the same. I'm going to work on this some, and I'll be back with a more finished look. Okay, so I'm back, and one of my pieces is damaged. You may not be able to tell, but it doesn't go round like it should. Like, you see how these are round. The one on the left is the damaged one. So I'm having a hard time with that, because you see how it's more flat, it needs to be round in order for this piece, you can see a lot better. Like this piece is supposed to cup it in, and it will not cup in. Like this goes in no problem, sits in no problem. This piece will not do that because it is damaged. So I'm going to go and get my screw pliers and try to fix it. But here we are so far. I really like how it's coming out. I think the next one that I do, I will probably try to slice this thing in half, although I need it to be like that. But I need this little tiny piece to go around gingerly around the eyes. And what I did for the eye, instead of scooping out everything on the inside, I just made that little slit so it'll look like a line once, because this will all be inked up. But if I can't get this piece adjusted and fixed, it's going to be a problem. Like if you notice, all of the other ones slide on no problem. And this I bought too long ago for me to take it back and say that it's damaged, because they could say you've had it for this long and you damaged it. This is probably my third or fourth time actually playing around with this. So, and this one is also a little bit damaged as well. So this blade right here should not be coming up right there. If you can see it, it should not be doing that. And then this one won't even, it should not be like that. It should just go flat over this piece, and it won't. You see right here, it's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to be seamless. So let me go and try to work that out. All right, this is the finished project so far. What we're gonna do is take out my little scrap thing I've been using for scrapping. And the first thing that you want to do whenever you create a stamp of your own is you want to stamp some ink on it. And then you want to see where the ink goes. Now, where the ink goes, if the ink is going on spots that you don't want it to go on, you can go ahead and scrape that off already. Or carve it, or whatever you want to call it. Because you don't want the ink. You don't want to waste ink, and you don't want ink going in spots that you don't intend the ink to go on. I was able to adjust my this one a little bit. I used my jewelry tools because I could not find my adult items, my normal screwdriver that most adults have in their home. I have craft supplies in my home that work just as well. So now we're going to stamp it out. And it doesn't look too bad, actually. I'm really proud of it. And you see how he has that little line in his eye? So I'm going to fix that one because I didn't put it in there. And I'm just going to try to fix this because he kind of looks a little bit on the grumpy side, and he's definitely not a grumpy guy. So let's adjust that. Alright, I cleaned up my face, Mr. Smiley. I cleaned him up some. And we're going to try it one more time. Okay. It's going on just the spots. The ink is going on just a little bit right here. I'm going to go ahead and get that off really quickly. I definitely probably could have sliced this thing in half. And maybe got another stamp out of it, but sometimes I don't know when to say when, so I probably could have dug all the way down to the bottom. We'll be seeing blue matte right now, so it's a good thing I didn't do that, and I'm okay with not doing it. But if you are more comfortable and you feel like you can do it, then if you decide to do this. Of course, by all means, go ahead and do it. And that is our finished stamp. Of course, it's not perfect, but I like him. I like Mr. Smiley. And he definitely has that little goofy tooth that I created, which is so cool right here. And you can see his eyes, which is awesome. I absolutely love it. Again, this didn't cost me anything because I had everything already on hand. I'm happy. So this is the first one. And then this is the second one. Doesn't use a lot of ink, and it's definitely not going to pick up any ink. Now, what you could do if you really wanted to get fancy, you probably could take this blade, the scalpel, and come along here and just scrape it to make it flat and all even and pretty. But I'm going to leave mine primitive because sometimes the struggle is just real. I want to say thank you all for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Tell me if you've ever done any stamping, homemade or handmade stamps that you've made yourself, not, you know, bought from a handmade company. But let me know that in the comments section. I really appreciate it. And tell me what I could do better for the next time if you have done this in the past. Again, the tools that I used was a big old eraser from the Dollar Tree. And this fancy smancy speedball rubber carving set. But you can probably get this in the woodlands section if you live by Hobby Lobby. I saw this yesterday and I was like, oh, they have them now. Because when you ask people about speedballs, some of the people that work there, seasonal and regular employees, they don't know. So you just have to be, when you go to some of these big box craft stores, you have to know what you are looking for. That is where we lose the beauty of having local craft stores. They actually know what the products they're getting in. So thank you all for watching. Look at Mr. Smiley. Happy crafting.